What's going on? My name is Ausar, and today is 8 steps for publishing a book. So many times people have asked me, how did you write your book? How did you publish your book? How did you put it out? So I wanted to break down how I go about publishing my books because I believe it will help you because I got a real simple process. Number 1, brainstorm. What is your book about? Plenty of times we get caught up about, I want to make a book about my life, cool. I want to make a book about this idea, cool. I want to make a book about whatever it is that you want to make a book about, just define that. I want to make a book about my thoughts. So I wrote 7 steps to discover your inner greatness. Because what was it? 7 steps to discover your inner greatness. I wanted to outline everything that I learned working with kids for the past 20 years. Which brings to the next step is create an outline, establish a direction. Whatever it is that you want to do in your life. Let's just say you want to write a book about your life. You can break it down and say, all right, chapter 1 will be about me 6 through 9. Chapter 2 will be 9 through 12, chapter 3, etc., etc. If you want to do a book about your thoughts or whatnot, you could say number 1 is this, number 2 is this, number 3 is this, number 4. So you using this as a guideline to ensure that you're walking the right direction with your book. For me, this outline is critical because I start with this on everything. It's like, what do I want this to look like? What do I want this to feel like to the reader? What direction do I want this to go? What do I want people to get out of the book in a nutshell? What do I want for you to get out of this content? That's really all I think about, and I'll summarize it with the outline. Number 3, schedule writing. Just get your pace in order, and whatever you feel like your pace is, cut it in half. Let me give you an example. I felt like, you know what, I can have a chapter done a week. I know for a fact I can complete a chapter a week. I can do that. Turn that into a half a chapter a week. Trust me, this will set the demands a little differently for yourself. So you know, look, I can go ahead and write 1 page per day. I can write 2 pages per day. Whatever you feel like it is for you, cut it in half. And then if you exceed that for that day, see how you're feeling, and then you can go further. So make sure you schedule your writing, but cut it in half, especially if this is your first time writing a book, not for those who have written a book before, because if you have written a book before, it may not be no reason to watch this video. But if you've never wrote a book, make sure you schedule your writing and then cut it in half because you don't know what it takes at this moment. Then you'll find your pace within this, and then you can ramp it up. So make sure you definitely do that, because if you do not, what will happen is it can feel overwhelming and then you'll quit the process. So even if you do 1 page per day, even if you do a half a page per day, think about it, a half a page per day, at the end of the year, you almost got 160 pages. So you look at it like that, chop it down and see what can work for you at your pace. Number 4 is find your style. Listen, this is so wise to do. People always got this layout of, you should write it like this, it should be this style, it should be this punctuation, it should be, don't think about none of that right now. I got friends that are at very high scholar positions, doctors, and all these people that want to write books, but they do not want to write the book because of how they feel they will be perceived by somebody based on the writing style that they want. So they limit themselves based on what they believe other people is going to read it and say. Don't allow that to happen to you. Find a writing style that works for you. And if it does not work for everybody else, then don't read it. It's fine. But I am going to write in my own style, and you should do the same. Find your style within your writing. Do not second guess it, and do what you feel like is best for your writing style. But do not allow somebody else's opinion to stop you from writing that book in the first place because you second guess, should I write it this way, or should I write it this way, or how should I do this? And don't worry about the grammar or anything at this moment, because that's going to slow you down as well. When you're thinking about, oh, is this right? Don't worry about blah, blah, blah. Oh, the comma, the quotation. Don't worry about none of that right now. Just get it all out and move at that pace that you feel like is good for you. Number 5, use a writing software. This writing software will keep you on track to some degree. I use Grammarly, and they are not paying me whatsoever to tell you. I wish they were. But I use Grammarly because it helps me, because I get the chance to write and it will tell me, well, this feels like joy. This feels like this. It feels like you're mad. And I like the fact that they tell me the tone of what I am writing in within the contextual things that I'm currently writing. So that helps me out, and I take it with a grain of salt. I'm still not going to alter my writing style, but it helps me understand what it looks like to the reader a little bit before I give it to a reader. Which brings it to the next one. Number 6, get feedback. So give it to some people to read. When you get to a certain point, give it to your cousin, brother, sister, mother, son, daughter, whoever it may be, and have them go through it. And do they understand? That was one of the things I had to do with my book, is I had stories, and then I would tell somebody to break down what they thought the story meant. And they would say it, and then I'll be like, no, that's not it. So it told me that I miscommunicated it in my writing style. So you get the feedback from people and have them break down what they think your book means, or what did your story mean, or what did your thought process mean, or whatever it was that you want to get through. Have somebody go through it and see if they comprehend what you're saying. If they fully comprehend what you're saying, keep it moving. If they do not, then you want to rewrite it, which goes to number 7. Update with feedback. Whatever feedback you get from these people, update it. But don't take it wholeheartedly. I want to be very clear. Everything that somebody says does not need to be changed. You got to understand that this is still your book. So if this person is your mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, whoever, and they feel like you should change this, you should change this, you should change this, that doesn't mean you need to change it all. So you can take it with a grain of salt. You go through it and say, you know what? Oh, I do want to change this. Those other 3 suggestions, I'm not changing. And it is fine. You don't have to alter your book to fit somebody else's opinion. And that's what slows people down so often, is they feel like I need to write a book, but I want to be perceived a certain way. I need to look a certain way to the people. I need to look a certain way to the general public. I want you to view me a certain way. And if this book stops you from viewing me this way, I don't want to write it. And then they stop themselves from giving that genius that they got in their mind to the world. So don't allow nobody to stop your genius. And number 8 is publish. Like, I use Lulu. So that's what I use to publish, self-publish. And it's pretty much straightforward. As soon as you get all these things done, it'll tell you, okay, we're going to give you this, and you could put this template here, and whether you want to have a cover, they'll give you a cover, and Lulu is not paying me neither. So I'm just telling y'all what I use. I'm telling y'all the services that I use. And I go to Lulu, and you can download the files, and you can plug in your stuff, and you can get somebody to do the cover, whatever you want to do on that behalf, and then you can publish it. But I want to say this. Let's go back to number 7. Do not rush neither. When you get this feedback, it's going to feel like you're in the final stretch, so let me hurry up and get it done. That has happened to me a couple of times, because I'm getting that feedback and I'm like, all right, I'm getting done. Let me hurry up and rush it. No, don't do that. So do not rush it. But going back to 8 now, realize that you can get more additions. Like, when you get this, it's not going to be perfect. You can print it out, you can go through it, and then a year from now, if you feel like I want to change this, I want to switch this around, I don't like the way this sounds, then update it. You can put out the second version of it. You can change the cover. You can do a lot of things, because a year from now or 2 years from now or however long from now, you're going to get a lot smarter, wiser. You're going to look at the way your writing style is and perfect it a little better. Because I went back and revised the book that I wrote 5 years ago, and I was looking at it and I was like, I can't even believe I wrote this trash. But at that time, it was the best I could do, and I sold it, and that's what it was. But now I'm so much better than that I updated it. So you can always do that and never forget that. So I don't want you out there to feel like you can't write a book, you can't publish a book and whatnot, because you feel like, oh, I don't want my ID, I don't know how I'm going to write, I don't know, all those I don't knows you're going to throw out yourself. You can just do it, man. You got that genius inside you. You got an approach that a lot of people don't got. You got this way of looking at the world that a lot of people can't look at it that way. So you need to give that out so people can read and learn from you. Thank you for taking out the time. Hold on, I got a question.
Should someone purchase a book that is close to their writing style to get a template?
The question I was asked is, should somebody purchase a book close to their writing style to get a template? Yes and no. I say you should on the behalf of doing some research, But I do want to say don't take it wholeheartedly, because a writing style is for you. So you may read Harry Potter, for example, and be like, I really like the way that she writes, so I want to emulate that somewhat in my own style. Now, it's cool to be inspired by, but don't duplicate. Don't copy somebody. Just be inspired, and their style will rub off into your style, but it will not be the whole entirety. So yes, you can study, but don't get so caught up in, I need to replicate that style, or I'm going to compare my book to a Harry Potter. Just don't do that, because comparison is a thief of joy. Thank you for taking out the time to watch this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to get a shirt or a hat or any of my books, you can do so in the description box below. Also, thank y'all for reaching out on Instagram and sending all y'all's questions and messages and all those things. I truly appreciate it, and continue to do so. Thank you.